Hello, everyone. This is JPL, and today I'm joined with
Christopher
and
164.
yes, and also today we are joined with
Chris.
yes, if that's not confusing. But welcome to podcast name and brackets.
So the thing is, John, last time you hit me with a curveball, and we did an episode when you brought on your friend who I've never met or talked to ever.
Okay.
So, Uno, the reverse card.
Uno.
No, you.
Vice versa. Okay.
Okay, so this is my friend Chris. If people have read enough YouTube comments, they would know of his existence because he comments something very iconic.
I haven't done it in like maybe a month or two, but
Okay, well, he has been known for commenting something very iconic.
Iconic
what
to
is
who?
that?
We've seen a lot of people like commenting like first on YouTube videos, right?
Yeah.
Right, John? Have you ever had someone comment on your video saying first?
Only once.
Only once.
Yeah.
Should we change that?
No.
I was about to comment first, but okay then. So he typically tends to comment the first shall be last.
I like to put a spin on it.
Yeah, you mentioned that you kept getting blocked by not blocked, but the comments removed by YouTube or something.
Yeah, what happened is so as a joke, everyone sees the comments first. It's like, why not put a spin on it? It's like, just say the first shall be last, but ironically be the first. So I did it so much to the point of YouTube like deleting the comment because they marked it in their algorithm as spam. So I had to play around like I used to comment the first shall be whatever and just add to it and just like make jokes off of it. And I guess I haven't done it in like maybe a month or so, but because I've been busy with stuff and I guess it's kind of died down a little bit. But I started it October of 2016. And it's still kind of a relevant joke in the comments of Blimey Cow videos. And again, I didn't just do it on Blimey Cow. I did a lot of like 15 other channels too that were kind of in that Blimey Cow universe of like people who watched Blimey Cow and these other creators that were like Blimey Cow. It's basically like a pyramid. You have the very top of Blimey Cow, and then you have different like people below that, like Chris Howard, Adler Davidson, Say Goodnight Kevin. Some of those people who were lesser but watched all the same content.
So, John, have you ever watched Blimey Cow or know of it about it?
I heard of them, I think. What? Just tell me.
When you, there are times when you can talk, and there are many times when you can be a man of few words, and that always makes me laugh whenever you choose to say enough to get the point across.
I'm good at that, but yeah, like tell me, what is Blimey Cow? Just for those who do not know,
including you.
Okay.
Chris, I think you probably would be better at explaining it. I've kind of fallen out.
Blimey Cow is a channel that started about 2006, and it's two brothers from Nashville who were homeschooled, and they used to make videos together. And the videos from 2006, 2007, 2008, when they were like teenagers, are still on YouTube, and you can go watch them on their channel. In 2011, they started a series called Messy Mondays, and one of their videos in early 2012 went viral called 7 Lies About Homeschoolers, which most of their current audience found them, and they've been growing ever since. They have a couple series. They have one big one, Jordan's Messages, which started in 2006 and continuously makes uploads on a monthly basis. Jordan's Messages is where Jordan answers
messages.
What is it? Jordan's Messages.
I heard messages.
Sorry, the mic. Sorry about it. But Messages is a show where people have relationship questions or problems, and Jordan gives horrible advice to deal with them.
That would sound like something I would do, right, John?
Accidentally, but yeah.
No, I think I would do it intentionally.
I don't know.
Okay, but Blimey
Both.
Cow is how I met Chris. It's honestly one of the main reasons why I am a YouTuber. I mean, namely, I discovered Blimey Cow through Kevin with the Ceiling Fan podcast before he started his YouTube channel. But just Kevin and Blimey Cow and such are huge inspirations of why I am a content creator today. Also, Kevin not just interned, but actually worked at Focus on the Family, helping edit the daily broadcast. And so he really got me into like the audio world and why I am majoring in audio today. So quite instrumental in my growth as a person and as a creative thingy. So, and I've seen your comments in like the YouTube section, and then I think you followed me on Instagram and I followed you back, which I don't know how you found me, but that's okay.
I found you through Malachi Munn because there was some like Google Hangout group chat.
Really?
There was some group chat that I was like added in that like Malachi Munn.
You were added in.
I guess I never interacted much, but I was added in.
Okay, so Malachi did a fan cast of Blimey. I'm sorry, John, but for the listeners from Italy who have no idea who this man is, I feel like it's important.
Yes. Who is this man?
He did a fan cast of. Okay, so another backstory. So Jordan of Blimey Cow has his separate channel just about him and his life, and I don't think it was sponsored, but like he started talking about this app he was using called Anchor. Anchor is where I met some incredible connections, including Malachi Munn. Me and some friends had a group chat after Anchor had a huge revamp, and we were in a group chat that we interacted for a long while together, and Malachi had his fan cast. So I don't think you got interviewed because Malachi kind of grew out of the podcast. He had a list of people he wanted to interview, and you were on the list, and that didn't happen, right?
No, I don't think I was interviewed. It just never happened. But and then I think we may have followed each other. We did follow each other on Instagram. That's how we started interacting some, but we were in that group chat.
I really don't think we were in the group chat. Did you leave the group chat, or?
It died.
I know it died, but I find it hard to believe that you were ever in the group chat.
Was it Google Hangouts?
I mean, that's where we interacted, but I don't ever remember adding you or him adding you.
Look at my login, and because I'm really curious now.
I am curious. Well, after the episode, I want to know.
But first things first. Who is Chris? Tell us yourself about us.
Okay, yeah. Enough about Blimey Cow.
That's a deep question.
Oh, no. John, look what you did.
I did good.
All right. My name is Chris. I live in the state of Virginia, same state as Christopher, except I live east. Not going to give a specific. I'm not going to say the specific place, but in the same state. I love memes, and there's one in particular. So I love memes, one of my favorites is actually the Rickroll meme.
Yes.
And I am very well known by everyone who knows me about my love for the Rickroll. And I mean, I enjoy Rick Astley's music. Not only just I enjoy the meme, but I also enjoy Rick Astley's music. I make that pretty evident with my Twitter, but I also enjoy other musics too. I like other.
No, stop it. John, why don't you like the Rickroll meme?
I mean, I like the song.
It's a good song.
The meme is a really old and classic one. But I don't know. I'm not a big prankster type person, so I was never really into that situation. But it is funny.
But apart from that, I like geography. I like history. I like Civil War history. What else do I like? I like traveling. My YouTube channel, yours truly, Chris. Not only do I comment, but I also make content for that. I make travel vlogs where I travel around the country. I've gone to California a few times, up and down the East Coast. So I enjoy traveling. COVID thing. Can I say that? Can I say that?
You can say the words, yes.
Some people are very. If I say that, it may demonetize them or something. I don't know, but the thing that's going on, or as I like to call it, the Wuhan flu. Because it's from Wuhan. The Wuhan flu. It's not the China virus. It's the Wuhan flu.
I mean, John, if we started a virus in Lynchburg, it would be called the Lynchburg flu.
I don't know.
That sounds like a podcast.
All right, let's rename it. Podcast name is now have an official name, the Lynchburg flu. All right.
It's gonna be like a Lynchburg relic after they changed the city name.
Oh.
We're gonna be in the Lynchburg or whatever new name city museum.
Just hey, if you were to have me to name the city, what would it be, Christopher?
Lynchburg.
No.
Wait.
City name in brackets.
That was.
I love that.
Hey.
Let's show John.
What?
Let's protest that. Let's do some.
I'm not for protesting, but let's put it down. Let's put a pin in it, okay? Well, I'm gonna write this down.
Write it down. Tweet it out. I'll tweet it out.
No.
No. John, we need our voice.
Hypothetical. If we were to change a name of a city,
yes.
Let's let that be like that. Let's not do specifics. All right.
What do you mean?
Let's not specifically put specifics on it.
I mean, there is a petition right now.
Let's not go forward.
John is one of the least political people I know.
Thank you.
And he doesn't like to talk about politics, but can I ask a question?
You may.
Okay. And if you wish to cut this out, which I know you won't, you may. All right. So, did you see what's trending on Twitter yesterday or the day before?
No.
No. Okay. Apparently, Kanye West said something about Harriet Tubman never freed the slaves. Now, Chris, you mentioned about being knowing about this Civil War. I know Harriet Tubman didn't really do her work during the Civil War, as far as I understand. But do you have any explanation for that? Is he wrong? Is he somewhat correct?
Well, I think this statement is blatantly wrong. I haven't studied much of Harriet Tubman's life, to be honest. I haven't studied what she did, and again, I haven't done an extensive study on the Underground Railroad either. But she was a vital role in the Underground Railroad. There's actually churches from the 1800s that still have doors in a city like not too far away where they would hide the slaves
Wow.
during the Underground Railroad.
Wow. I didn't know those like still existed. And I bet that's definitely like national relics.
You know,
what I mean? What?
as a kid,
Yes.
growing up, reading about the Underground Railroad, I thought it was an actual railroad underground.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
me too.
when I found out it was just not, I was really disappointed.
And to make it worse, the books would always say Harriet Tubman was like considered a conductor, which is a metaphorical term for she was one of the people who helped along the way.
that would be the case. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
But again,
What-
I haven't done an extensive study on the Underground
Okay.
Railroad. I'm probably Kanye hasn't done it either.
Of course not. But
Which is probably true.
thinking of the term literally, she did not literally free the slaves. She led them to the path of freedom.
That's
Which
correct.
makes sense.
She was a helper along the way.
Mhm.
I personally didn't want to Google it because then we're all of a sudden every single news website is going to fact check it, and I don't know what to trust or who to believe because oftentimes we have two sides with two opinions that seem completely right, but are so like they can't mix together because they oppose each other so much, but they seem so right. So I mean, I don't know how much of history you could twist. I bet it's been done. I bet it still is being done. But I did not want to Google something that was just so fresh, and I would have preferred to ask someone who knew someone more about it than to kind of do the research on my own, which isn't a bad thing, but I just don't know who to trust in terms of the research.
Here's my take on it, right? It's funny because you would think with the internet we have all the resources, but it's easy, but it's also very difficult at the same time trying to find credible resources. And the big thing is you want to find actual quotes, actual letters, historical documents of what they wrote, and to see who they really were. And that's what it comes down to. And with the internet, it should be right in your face. But again, with all these articles and people's opinions and other things, it's really, really, really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And again, living in the state of Virginia, it's nice because we can go to all these battlefields and we can see the documentation of things that happened. But living in like California or some other state, it's hard for people to understand history when they just read it in a textbook and they're not here living it.
And I think that was one of the craziest things for me when I moved to Virginia. I'm like, I am literally living on Civil War territory. I used to live like 30 to 45 minutes away from Appomattox. Like, have either of you gone to Appomattox?
Appomattox?
What?
No.
Is that? I'm like, does your breed say it differently, John?
Hey, that's how I've read Appomattox for a long time.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
there were two separate places.
Because of the courthouse and the place?
No.
Or what do you mean?
No, when I hear people say Appomattox, it's like, okay, that's one place. When I actually read the words, I read it as Appomattox. And so I think that's a completely different place. So it blew my mind when someone said Appomattox, and I looked at Appomattox, and I thought, wait a minute. Those are the same thing. So Yeah. Anyway, I also just like saying words differently.
Which makes sense. I mean, like, I don't blame you. It's nice to stand out sometimes.
That's not why I do it, but yeah.
I think Appomattox for me, like the word itself, which I have not gone to the courthouse. I think I've been on the grounds. I might have even driven by the courthouse, but I don't remember. Um, but I think it was one of those words that looked so complex that I didn't even try to read it. And so I never had like something registered like Appomattox in my mind. And then and then when I heard it and then it clicked, like, oh, that's what it is. Just sometimes like you just tend to recognize a word even though you don't know how to say it, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah.
I have something to comment on that, but the problem is I can't say that on the podcast because it would be a little too local. But
Thank
I
you.
but what I'm saying is, I always grew up here in Appomattox, and the funny thing is, the surrender didn't happen at the courthouse.
Oh wait,
If you go to, because I went to the Appomattox in November, believe it or not, we took like a day trip and went out, and
oh wait, I remember you texting me. You're
Yeah.
like and then I think I had worked that day or something.
I texted you that day. I was like, "Hey, I'm in Appomattox,"
Oh my god.
and I went there, and the surrender didn't happen at the courthouse. It happened at the McLean House parlor room. Believe it or not. So if you go there, you're going to be disappointed. It wasn't at a courthouse. It was at someone's house.
Well, Christopher's doing something, but yeah, that's interesting. So at someone's house, the surrender took place.
That's correct.
What surrender are we talking about specifically?
When Lee surrendered to Grant, April
Gotcha.
1865.
Interesting. Yada doodle. So, have you ever traveled outside the country?
I went to Canada in 2002. I went to Niagara Falls. That was right after 9/11, where you could enter in Canada before you need a passport. The Department of Homeland Security wasn't set up yet by Bush, and we could just enter in. And we went camping, which that wasn't fun because we camped next to a lake and a thunderstorm came and lightning hit the lake.
Oh.
So that wasn't fun. But anyway, what I'm saying is that's pretty much. I did actually go inside the Iraqi embassy about 6 years ago, which is technically on Iraqi soil.
That's interesting.
Because it's a diplomatic area. So technically I've been to Iraq.
On a technicality, sure.
Yeah.
Are there any places that you would wish you would go to?
Oh, London.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to go to London for so long. And the big thing is, I want to go to the filming locations of the Never Gonna Give You Up video, which is in Eastern London.
Wow. So you're really into that Rickroll.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Question. Go on. I'll ask soon.
I made a Rickroll cover of my friend Chris Howard, and I spent 4 months of consistent work on that.
Like that was finding him saying those words and piecing it.
I did the entire song.
Oh dear.
Wow. So I'm curious. So I think it was last year, and honestly, you might have posted about it. I can't remember, but there's the pianissimo version, I think, that he released last year for his greatest hits collection. Did you hear that, and what did you think of it? Because I listened to it and I loved it. What? Did I?
Rick Astley's re-release of. Sorry. You're talking about the Rick Astley re-release where he does like the piano version?
Yes.
That was actually really, really good. The funny thing is, there is a very similar type sounding version of Never Gonna Give You Up that was made 3 or 4 years ago. Never Gonna Give You Up, but it makes you cry. And it sounds very, very similar.
Interesting. And was that released by him or like was it a cover?
Someone else made that piano
Okay.
version. And then Rick releases his own. So I
That's
guess,
so interesting.
but the best version of all is when there's 10 years ago, a guy made a mashup of Never Gonna Give You Up and Nirvana, which
The band Nirvana?
Smells Like Teen Spirit. There's a mashup that someone made 10 years ago, and I remember watching it the year it came out, and I thought it was just amazing. Well, Rick got on stage with the Foo Fighters, and they performed that very mashup. They did it twice. Once when he was in Japan, and then another time when he was in London. Both times when the Foo Fighters were performing. So, again, the memes are becoming real. Like, something that people made up are legit, like, coming to pass, and it just, like, it just blows my mind.
It's amazing. You know what we need next, John?
What?
The PS5 idiot sandwich.
No.
Why not?
Why is that a good idea?
It's hilarious. That's why it's a good idea.
It's not that funny.
So I saw a meme when the PS5 was like announced, and it was the Gordon Ramsay idiot sandwich. What are you, a PS5? It's hilarious. So, John, why not?
Because the Eye of Sauron PS5 is the better meme.
I have not seen that one.
Well, then that's your troubles.
It's my troubles. Is that Lord of the Rings based?
Yes.
Okay.
At least you got that reference.
That's as much as I know. I don't even know anything about Lord of the Rings.
One day, Christopher, one day.
Maybe.
Maybe. You and I.
Maybe. There's actually another friend that we've talked about.
Happy?
Not we, but I have talked with another friend about going through Lord of the Rings with. Her name's Celestria. Chris, do you know of her?
No?
Okay, she's one of me and Malachi's friends that was in. We have a Hangouts group chat. Like that much I know. I just don't think you were in it. That's it. But like I actually was friends with her before Anchor. That was the crazy thing. But we reconnected on Anchor, and so she's a booktuber, YouTube. One of those bookish fans on YouTube, and so yeah, I love what she does, and like she does some covers. She talks about books on YouTube. Literally, if you search Celestria on YouTube, she's the first result. But she knows my distaste for movies. But I have said, no, at least Narnia. At least we're gonna watch all 3 of the Narnia movies together if we ever meet. But I think Lord of the Rings is on that list too. So is it good?
Depends on your definition of good.
Okay.
Like the way I see it, yes. Lord of the Rings is great. It's fantastic. It's well made. It's a good story as well. I just recently watched them, and I just love them.
But is there a but?
No.
Okay, then.
But I don't know about you.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't know what you like.
Well, not gore.
Well, is there gore? There's Mishimi. Tiny bit.
I mean, there are okay. So for a class, I did have to watch like some video, like movie scenes or something, and one of them is Lord of the Rings. It was hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. And I recently, I mean, it wasn't like the worst thing in the world, right? It's not terrible, but it was unlike anything I've seen before. I mean, I recently watched like the Disney Narnia. The first one was in 2005, like a month or two ago, and I think it's like almost super well done. I have a few issues with it, but like I thought the battles were tastefully done. Like all the scenes that could have been like.
Tastefully.
Okay, then what do you think then?
No, that's just an interesting choice of words. Tastefully.
Tastefully.
Oh, okay.
Tastefully, because like it did not. I don't like it. Didn't not detract from like it did not dumb down the battle where it just looked like two kids playing with foam swords, right? It looked real, but they did not make it so real that it was disgusting to look at, right?
Mhm.
It more or less showed the reality of it without triggering the emotions or senses that much.
It's like a PG-13 sword fight.
Yeah. So Lord of the Rings is PG-13?
Yes.
Okay. Then that's... I think the Narnia is like a G or PG. I don't know which one.
I would assume a PG.
Probably, yeah, thematic elements, PG automatically. John, what could we do for a podcast that would give us the PG warning? We don't have to cuss. We just have to do something thematic to
I mean,
give us
our
a PG.
last podcast was kind of warranting of that.
What did we do? That was so...
We read my poems. My gruesome, dark poems.
Do you want to give Chris the nutshell of it?
I
I think he'll appreciate that your communism.
No.
Yes.
Let's not go into detail, but no, I was looking through some old high school essays / poems I did, and one of them was like a satirical hypothetical situation. You solve a world problem by giving an answer that solves the problem but isn't exactly a good one. And so my solution to solving racism was severing a bunch of body limbs and whatnot. And that's what I'm gonna say for today.
Like gouge out the eyes. If you can't see, then you
Shut-
can't.
Shush,
Why
shush.
not? It's
Shush,
genius.
Christopher. Shush.
We should
We had
do
enough
it.
of that last episode.
It's genius.
Mm.
Yes. I'm all for communism if it means gouging out our eyes for
No. Communism was not about the gouging of the eyes. It was something that you should do to buy yourself some time to come up with a new plan. That's what the communism was about. Because ultimately, communism will fail.
As it has historically.
Yes, true. As I mentioned, people disgustingly wish for free will. That's the exact quote.
And it's a beautiful quote.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it in our Twitter bios.
Let's not.
Oh. Okay then.
Let's not act on impulse, Christopher.
But this isn't impulse. This is a week.
Let's sit and pray thus to the Lord and ask for His guidance. Lord, should I bring communism to the world?
Lord, should we sarcastically bring communism to the world?
No? Okay.
Well, that's
I
what
met a guy. I visited a college one time, and I met a guy who was a student who was a former member of the Socialist Party, because he claimed in heaven it's pure socialism. Everyone shares everything, and there's no money, and everyone. That's what he claimed. And again, I was like, But
yes and no.
Yeah.
I think in heaven, like Jesus did promise us a place, which I believe that we will have our own individual units, whether that's a room or a mansion. mansions
Mhm.
are possible because it's God. However, I feel like we will be following the two commands of loving God and loving your neighbor as yourself, that we would not need money. Because if we abolished money but didn't have a communist system where everyone gets everything equal, we're going to have, like, there's a greater chance of thievery. But in heaven, we will be not just thinking of God, but also of others. Therefore, we will only take what we truly need and leave the rest for everyone else. At either rate, the supply would be endless. So
The big thing is, on Earth, we are human and live in sinful nature. So, even if you tried pure communism on Earth, it is going to fail because of human nature and failures. And again, capitalism has its faults too. I'm not saying it's perfect; it's got its faults. But when you have people who are socialists, who want pure socialism on Earth, who claim Venezuela is not is a step in the right direction, but it's not pure socialism. And every time, but what I'm trying to say is, you can't have it perfect because humankind is not perfect. There's a whole more discussion there,
Yeah.
but that's what I
And
say.
Venezuela is not a perfect example because right
I
now
know.
they're they're no good.
watch it, John.
Hey,
You don't
hey,
want to
hey!
be described
I'm
as
I'm
racist in 5
talking
years.
from experience. Okay.
I know. His parents were missionaries in Latin America, correct?
South,
South. They're different,
slightly, yes.
slightly. Okay. Oh, right. Latin America is more like Middle America.
Something like that, yeah.
Why don't we have? Never mind. Never
Yeah,
mind.
yeah.
If
Ecuador.
I expand it upon that, I'm definitely being canceled in 5 years.
Let's not.
That's one thing I'm scared about. Like, okay, so
Fear not.
yeah, I need to fear not, but it's hard sometimes. But so,
Oh.
like, right, two videos of mine. I haven't checked my statistics for like a week or two, but I know 2 videos of mine that are getting a lot of views are my reactions. Which, by the way, did I talk about monetization on the last episode?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. So YouTube denied me monetization for the second time because of the reactions.
Mm-hmm.
Which I believe that many other reaction channels on YouTube are monetized. They just can't monetize most of their videos because of the copyright. It says on the YouTube help page, if you add some commentary at the end, we do approve of reaction video channels. I do that for 98% of my reactions. So I am upset, and I think that's the end of reactions for me on YouTube. I was just going to have some on Patreon and then move them to YouTube whenever I got monetized. But I'm seriously leaning towards, yes, now reactions will be exclusive to Patreon. I'll try to start doing song reviews. I'm still thinking things out.
Yeah.
Rating. Regardless, and then I'll have to basically make unlist, but basically make private my reactions, so that it won't affect the monetization thing. But it's gonna detract from my total watch hours. So I need to be making content to start building up watch hours of non-reactions, so I can have that 4,000 of non-reactions, or at least hopefully there to be less reactions on my channel, enough that YouTube will approve it for monetization. And then I'll probably just leave whatever is up, but not post anymore. Regardless, 2 reaction videos right now that haven't gained a lot of views are to Hillsong's King of Kings and Elevation's Sea of Victory. I have tried reacting to some CCM-based songs, with no real success, except for the For King and Country, God Only Knows with Dolly Parton. That's her name, right? Dolly Parton. I said that right. Please tell me I did.
Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton. Here's the thing. On Sesame Street, they had a character that switched the name a bit around. Polly Darton. So I can't figure out if it's Polly or Dolly. It's Dolly, right? Please tell me.
It's Dolly.
Thank you.
It's Dolly.
Dolly Parton. Okay, so because Dolly Parton is on it, and also for King Country has been gaining mainstream success, that has accumulated quite a few views. Like I've done Crowder, for example, not that many views. And so basically the thing about worship songs is that they are like the most popular form of Christian music right now. Say what you want. Yes, Skillet, has an audience. Yes, NF has an audience, though Christian hip hop no longer claims him, which I think is stupid. But as a whole, for like a genre within quote Christian music, worship is the most popular. I mean, you see, Reckless Love has 100 million views on YouTube. I don't know where it is at right now, but I know it's past that mark, right? It's ridiculous. You look at TobyMac. I don't think any of his songs have passed even 50 million views. It's really crazy to see how dominant worship music is. But it's not just that. Worship music lasts longer, right? A pop song may have its 6 months on the radio and continual airplay a little bit as the years go by, but worship songs are sung in churches for years and years and years and years. I know it's not that many, but some churches will still sing Indescribable or How Great Is Our God. There's some churches today who are still singing Oceans, right? Oceans is almost 10 years old, right? The album released in 2013. It's crazy to think about. These songs have a long lifetime. So even though these songs are somewhat new, they are listened to by more people because so many churches are singing it, and provided that these reactions are still public, they'll still continue to get a lot of views. My point is that in the reactions, I tried kind of analyzing the lyrics, like giving my thoughts of how I think about it lyrically, right? Because I do believe that it's not necessarily the music that's what's important about worship music. It's the lyrics, right? So I just wanted to think about it, think a little critically, and see how I'm like perceiving it. Perception is key. Perception's not always reality, but perception is key. And I got a lot of like not so nice comments by Christians. There's one person who even said, "I spent this whole time watching this video laughing at this stupid boy." And like there's, I think one of the things is that like in the Hillsong King of Kings, like the verses were about the life of Jesus, I think from his birth to his ascension, and even like the birth of the church and the bridge. But the chorus goes, praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, 3 in 1. I'm like, okay, I thought the song was about Jesus, not the Trinity. Not to say that the Trinity had no part in the life of Jesus, but the verses were strictly about Jesus's life. And so I was a little confused, but I apparently kind of worded it that almost sounded like, I don't know what the Trinity is, please explain it for me. That's basically what it turned out to be. And so not only Christians didn't think I was a Christian, but like I've received some very interesting comments. And it blows me away kind of just how easily people can perceive something. Yes, maybe I didn't see it the right way, but how things can easily be taken out of context. And I think that's very obvious for whenever we see someone being canceled, whether for the right or wrong reasons. Sometimes something's being taken out of context, and it's crazy to see.
My church still sings songs from the 90s. Believe
Class?
it or not. But you're absolutely correct. I mean, actually, some of the Christian songs, they'll stay on like K-Love for like years. They'll stay like what you hear on like regular radio versus like Christian radio. It's like Christian radio, they'll play the same songs for like 10 years almost. Regular radio, maybe like 3 to 5 years. But
Yeah.
you're right. Worship music stays around much longer and has a bigger impact. So I've never really thought about that. You're absolutely correct. So I with
It kind
with the
Go on.
with YouTube, here's my take on YouTube right now.
Mhm.
YouTube has stated since the pandemic started that they are limited on how they can help people.
Mhm.
With trying to get back with them, emailing them, they are limited, which means they probably don't want to go through your channel because you just hit if it was like 1 million, okay, they'll go through your videos and your channel. But since you just hit 1,000, they're not gonna go like through your videos and determine, and that's a very unfortunate situation for you right now.
Mhm.
And it's because of the pandemic.
Okay.
And they have stated that. So I think I messaged you a little bit about this, but what about royalty-free music, like Gabe Miller music?
Right. I don't know if I explained it well enough. It's not about the copyright. It's the fact that I am reusing someone else's content without, quote, adding anything to it. For example, maybe if I was a music producer and I remixed, whether it be for King Country or Gabe Miller's music, I'm adding my own creative spin on something that I am reusing. Apparently, reactions aren't adding enough to the content I'm reusing. That's kind of the issue. I still may upload or record and upload to Patreon a reaction to that Gabe Miller thing because I love Gabe Miller and I think it's really cool whenever he does anything metal. But it's just reactions as a whole. I don't see I definitely hope you're right in terms of this Corona thing because that kind of gives a lot of more perspective to this. In some ways, a little bit of hope. At the same time, side note, I don't know why, aren't these people working from home? But besides, it does give me some hope that maybe I could get back to it one day, but still a little sad to see that it's just because he does reactions, therefore he is not a real YouTuber. We cannot monetize him. I forget what the main point of that was. Well, so I did I don't know if you guys saw it, but I had a non-metalheads try to keep headbanging video.
Yeah.
And I had 5 songs in it, 3 of which were, claimed for copyright. I'm okay with that. I expected it. I did not alter. I did alter the songs. I made them shorter, but other than that, I did not alter the songs, remix them or right. However, I do believe that video added something special to the content. Right. I used 5 different songs. It was like an FBE video where people are continuously giving their feedback. At the end, I ask them questions, and they're doing something along with the music, right? Trying to keep headbanging, basically trying to show their interest for a genre that they might not even like. I think those type of videos would be fine with YouTube. I still intend to do more of those type of videos. Like John, I want you in the next one. Whenever. Well, so I can't promise it's going to be the next one because I have an idea. I don't know if it's going to fly, but I might be recording the next one sooner and a little more privately than expected. But I definitely hope that you'd be either in this next one or the one after.
I live half an hour from you.
So I might. It's a might. I have to run it by my parents. I haven't run it by them yet, but I might be visiting a friend in town. My only issue is I don't know how they feel about me inviting other people to their house. I know they have a group of friends that within that pool I could have enough for a video.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know because I want the background to be consistent, right?
Yeah.
I don't want it to be one video in. in New York, and the next video in Paris. Person. Like in 5 different locations. I don't want that. I want to be as consistent as possible. I know, like in the video, you kind of see like almost each person I recorded was like on a different day. The camera is in a slightly different position or whatever, but it was, I believe, the same or very similar room when the study room's in the library. So if I'm able to do what I want to do, then I will inquire if I can have you in it, and if that's possible, we will. And if that is not possible, then whenever we'll have to see what the library situation will be at Liberty, like the study rooms. Because do you have a face mask, John?
I do.
Okay. I'll have to confirm, but I heard that we might be required to wear face masks in class for this next semester. I know, but it is what it is. I personally just have a hard time. I wore one once for 5 minutes in Walmart, and it was just hard for me to breathe. So I hope I can survive for 50 minutes.
It's not good to wear it all day.
Hopefully it's just in classes and I can take it off afterwards.
But in other news, more happier news, Jonathan got married this past week.
He did.
He did.
That's okay. So, Chris, do you know of another friend of mine, Christopher Green?
You have mentioned his name.
Okay. He used to work really closely to Kevin. I think he helped do the sound effects for the Blimey Cow tunes. Chris Green has probably helped do sound effects for like a few of Kevin's videos before the Nostalgia Christian era. I don't say movie night era, whatever. But just a hot second.
And we have a pause right here. So how are you doing, Chris?
I'm tired.
Oh, that's nice. Stayed up all night?
Not all night, but went to bed late, woke up a little earlier this morning, and did some running around. I fell yesterday at work, so my knees are pretty bruised up. So I'm kind of taking it easy today.
Where do you work?
I can't say it on the podcast.
Oh, right. It's the same job, right?
Which same job?
The same job that you've been having, or is it a new job?
I got the job early June.
Okay. I guess we'll talk later afterwards. I think I know, but I'm not sure. All right. John, I don't know if you're able to edit, but regardless. So, anyways, I gave his background. So my friend Chris Green also got married this weekend as well. Uh-huh. So that's so cool that we both have friends that got married this weekend.
Yeah, and so he live streamed his wedding, so I got to watch it.
And I have a friend who is getting married this weekend.
Really? That's so cool.
And the funny thing is about this friend is I met him in a video chat site 5 years ago. And we've been communicating on Twitter. We've been in group chats. And I'm one of his groomsmen.
Ah,
that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I dressed up to watch the live stream. So
that's nice. So, go on.
Actually, he was the guy that he and his fiance, they weren't even engaged yet. Remember when I came to Liberty and
so that's him.
Yes.
Okay, because my next question was, did you ever meet him? Did you meet him prior to you coming to Liberty?
Oh yeah, I had met him several times.
Okay, that is super cool.
But yeah, he actually, when he gets married, he's moving to Lynchburg.
Okay. So that means you'll probably be able to visit more often.
So yeah, I mean between you, Cliff Stummy, my friend James, and then my mom has a friend that lives out there, so once the pandemic kind of eases, I'd like to make my way out there. Plus, hopefully my cough will make it. It's on its last leg, but it's probably.
Yeah.
When was the last time we had like a global panic?
I was alive, but I was too young to understand. But how bad was the financial situation like 09? Was that just America or was that global?
Global-ish. It was America. People lost jobs. I was kind of, that was like 2008, 2000. I was kind of like in middle school-ish. I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully, our family wasn't impacted too hard by it. But as a global scale, you watch the news, the job market, and just everything. It was not a fun time financially.
Yeah, I didn't know actually anything happened. I mean, I'm an elementary kid. I don't care about the world. And I'm in Paraguay, so really, we're already a poor country, so there's really nothing to really affect.
I was young. Like, our family didn't have a TV. We had a bookstore for 3 years in LA. I can't say it shut down because of what happened. It just already wasn't a strong business as it was. We just, like, prior to 08, we just weren't getting business. So I don't think we could blame it on that. But like, we didn't have a TV, we didn't watch the news. Like, I think the only time my dad really watched the news was election night to see who would win. As far as I understand, I don't remember. But I was very unaware. I think my dad definitely kind of has this mentality, I'll say, or like just a way how he grooms the children is like, they do not need to know all of the bad stuff going on in the world, which I get and somewhat agreed to an extent. Obviously, something about like Corona, like that can be definitely explained and has to be explained because it's affecting everyone, but it does not have to be explained in such a way that it terrorizes young kids. If you know what I mean, you tell them what's going on and you tell them the basics, but something when it goes to finances, when like we were like 10 years old around that time, and like I don't know what you did, but all I bought were Bible trading cards. Like, I would get a couple dollars a month and I would get those. I didn't really have much to worry about. And then we moved to Korea, and I don't know what this financial deal was in Korea, but we were doing okay there. Not to say our family was ever rich, no, but I mean, I know God has definitely led us through this time, but I definitely wasn't really aware of it, and so to kind of hear about it in retrospect kind of doesn't sit well with my brain, because I'm like, I lived during this time and I don't remember.
Yeah, it doesn't really have much of an impact. It's like, oh, was there something? Okay, I guess it must have been something that was in this specific region and not where I was. I don't know.
Y'all are probably much too young to remember 9/11.
Definitely, I definitely not.
I'm actually old enough where I remember. I was in elementary school when it happened, and I don't remember. Like, a lot of people say, "Oh, I remember where I was," and I was just at elementary school, and they sent us home early. But for weeks and weeks after 9/11, the media was just consistently talking about terrorism and all these things, and it was just like day after day after day, the media would not stop talking about the same thing. And again, the word terrorism, that wasn't in our vocabulary until 9/11. It was just so shocking to everyone across the nation and across the world. And um, especially for us, because in Northern Virginia, the Pentagon got hit. I mean, the Twin Towers, that was a big deal. But uh, but for weeks and weeks after that, just all the drama, all the stuff with New York and DC and with Bush, and you got to know your top officials because they would all be on the news, like Condoleezza Rice, Colin Powell, Tony Blair, um, all these people that I could probably ask someone who's in college now, do you know who Tony Blair is? And they'd probably tell me, I have no idea who that is.
Wow.
Tony Blair was the prime minister of the UK when 9/11 hit.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
I wouldn't have known.
But early 2000s politics, I remember it. But again, it was a tough time for a lot of Americans, and even like you see now with all the flights being like canceled and stuff, and not after 9/11 hit, all the planes got grounded for like several months, and it hurt the airline industry. And there was no like what you're seeing now. There's at least some sort of like public transportation running. Trains, planes, they all just halted for like several weeks because there was just like no, like everyone was scared to walk outside because they didn't know what was going to happen. And finally, just things started opening back up, and the U.S. economy went into a mini recession in 2001. It didn't. 2008 was a huge like impact, but 2001 it didn't hurt the economy as bad, but Wall Street kind of took a tumble a little bit. And same thing with 2008. I mean, at that time when the economy went down, there's so many. If you look up the 2008 financial crisis, you have 9/11. You have all these people that make up conspiracy theories about everything, like every little event. I like to joke. Every 4 to 5 years, all the end times peoples make up a news story of how the world's going to end because they realize after 7 years, oh, we're still going.
Yeah.
Right thing, right new. But there's kind of. But what I'm saying is, there's been trying times for America. It's not just now, and the big thing is we just have to have faith in God. And again, fear is what the media wants us to have. And I want to be informed, but we need information and not fear.
Yeah.
I want to know what's going on in my state where there's cases and stuff. And again, that's what it comes down to, is being informed is good. Fear is not good.
Yeah, I think for me when it comes to 9/11, because I was so young, like, because I have like almost no memory from me before I was 5 years old, right? Like, that is almost a little easier to believe about that being in my lifetime than the recession, because I can discount like, oh, since I don't remember, it must have happened. But in terms of like conspiracy theories, like, I'm not anti conspiracy theories. I think like I feel like some people are too quick to dismiss them, and there are some people who are too quick to accept them. I think, I kind of say like, believe nothing, but don't accept everything, something like that. It's like, because what we were kind of talking about earlier, like Harriet Tubman, like we could be told two very different things that make a lot of sense, but they conflict against each other. And for a lot of things, I've kind of just been in a state where I'm like, I do not know, and I don't really care to form an opinion. I don't really want people to get angry with me for not having an opinion. I don't, because honestly, it doesn't affect my life that much, and it doesn't affect what God wants me to do in my life. I don't know what specifically God has planned out for me to do, but whether 911 was an inside job or not does not affect especially for us Christians, to call the evangelism, to go out and tell the world about the good news of Jesus Christ. We are not here to convert people to be 911 truthers. We're supposed to bring people into the gates of heaven.
Well, I am going to say this. Right after 9/11 happened, churches were filled with people because people were looking, they were searching, because everyone felt helpless. That was the big thing, was everyone felt so, it was like this was happening. They had no control. Everyone they were helpless, and churches were filled the Sunday after because people were looking. And eventually people started looking elsewhere with other things. But it was kind of a wake-up call to America. It was like, look, Jesus Christ is still on the throne. And yeah, there was a lot of people who really acted, but I think the church failed to really respond. It was a good opportunity, but a long-term effect. The church itself didn't act.
I know for me, growing up, I had never heard the term 9/11 until I was 12 when I moved to the States. Because before, I'd only known 9/11 as just the two towers. And I didn't really know the grand scope of it. I just knew there was these two towers, the Twin Towers, and they were destroyed. But it wasn't until I got to the States where I keep hearing this term 9/11. It's like, what's this? Like, what is this? And then when the day kind of finally came, they normally do celebrations at schools where a solemn remembrance of it, and they give the history, and that's where you learn. And it's like they put a lot of emphasis on 9/11 about the whole story, and it's strange. Growing up, not really knowing anything about it, of course, being overseas, that makes sense. But now that you're in the place, this is a very important fact for us to know.
I don't think I was even aware of it till sometime in near high school, because that was how much my dad didn't really want me to be exposed to something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably have heard about 9/11 since moving. I'm very certain I had no knowledge of it before moving to Korea. It's not that in Korea I was asked about 9/11. It was more or less my school curriculum or the books I was reading that referred to it. Environment.
Yeah. And going back to what I was asking,
what were you asking?
I was asking what do you think was the last big world event? Think back through years. This isn't exactly a big world event, but it was noteworthy. And
it was the World Cup when Germany was knocked out.
Shush.
Okay.
It was back in 2012. The world ending. Because that was a big thing that was looming over our heads. It's like, this could be a thing that happens. But I remember the day before, there was just this grim solemnness throughout the entire school as we left for a school break and for the weekend. And we just all kind of talked to each other as if, this could be the last time we see each other. So we're being nice and being like, it's nice knowing you, bud. Hopefully I get to see you in heaven. See ya. But yeah, of course nothing happened. But I do remember that during that time, as the date was closing to 2012, we got our doomsday preppers. We got people being like, "Oh, the world's gonna end. Go to Jesus." And then of course there's the people telling you it's not gonna end. The Mayan calendar is actually 10 months, and that was years ago. So the date's passed.
And then they said this year, oh, we made an error with the Mayan calendar. It's supposed to end in 2020.
Wow.
You know,
Actually, I think. All right, continue. Sorry.
there's all these jokes and all these people who are just so wanting. They're like, 2020 is the worst. Let's just let this year end. And, that's true. But I just had this fun thought where it's like, what if
Let's
we're
chop
wrong?
off the brains.
No. What if we're wrong to think that? What if, in fact, 2021 is actually much, much worse? We should be hopeful for 2020. Let's not wish for this thing to end. Let's prolong the inevitable of 2021. That's a sad thought to think. It's like, what if next year is much worse?
But like that's the thing where I find so many people just kind of wanting to end things. Right. I think like that's the base of suicide, right? There's nothing we can do to change it, therefore the only way to change it is to end it, to escape.
You've lost your hope.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are at that point, maybe not the point of suicide, but where they have lost hope. However, I have seen like I feel like even in 2019, a lot of people were complaining about the terrible things in 2019.
Here's the thing:
And
it happens
if you
every
go back,
year.
like tweets, yeah, it happens every year. Everyone says, "Oh, this is the worst year." Next year, "Oh, this is the worst year." Next year, "Oh, this is the worst year." Are you freaking kidding me?
And then 2020 happens, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, now this literally is the worst year.
Like, I'll give you that. Maybe this has been the worst year of your existence.
Not really.
Well, yeah. I don't like. I bet some people have had other worse emotional drama in previous years. Right?
Yeah.
I will say, for me personally, like I've gone through some of the hardest stuff this year. However, I do feel like I'm on another level in terms of maturity. That, in terms of my maturity, this is my best year. Like I would not want to live in any of the other years I've lived in. Like yeah, this year sucked a lot for me. Not even if Corona didn't happen, I had the accident, and we had George Floyd. Like the implications of George Floyd and what has kind of followed since is not going to escape us anytime soon, because it makes you think, right? It makes you rethink a lot of things. Do I feel like there's a lot of activism more than there should be? Yes, because it's depressing. I get angry almost every single time I get on Facebook or Twitter because of something, of seemingly somebody being a little too sensitive, or another person who is unjustly killed. Like, I don't know, like, specifics, right? I hear two different stories about Breonna Taylor. I do not know what to believe, right? All I do know is that she was killed. That's what I do know. And whether it was for the right or wrong reasons, it's sad that she had to be killed. And I wish she didn't have to be killed. Regardless, with all these bad and sad things, like, it really tears at me. It's been a difficult year. The past couple of weeks for me has been very difficult because it's been hard to process a lot of these things in life. However, like I said, I feel like I'm on such a better level in terms of my maturity, especially since the accident. I feel like I've learned a lot from that. I know I have so much more to learn. I'm excited to live on campus where I'm going to be challenged as a person, as I'm put into real world life situations. I can't speak now. Situations that's going to test me to make me become a better person. And so, yeah, I know a lot of crazy, hard things are coming my way. I mean, freaking school is hard enough. But if I'm to be honest, I'm kind of excited for the future.
Yeah, I mean, it was just I've had ups and downs these past few years, especially the past 2 years, but you know, you have to realize, okay, God's taken me through these times. And sometimes when we're going through them, it's not fun. But then you look back and say, you know what? I see what you did there, God, and you helped me grow from that.
And also, you think
that's
about it. You think,
Christopher.
you think about like you told me one of the situations he went through a few years ago, or I think maybe in my situation. And I think if I had the choice to continue on with 2020 or to go back in time with a happier and better time in life, I would say, because looking back, to some degree, like, we can minimize what happened. Be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. But when you're in that situation, like, if you really think about it, you were thinking during that time, this is the worst time of my life. I hate this so much right now. I wish I had never be going through this. Sometimes we kind of do tend to forget, right? So, like, that's some hope for the future. One day, hopefully, the coronavirus will only be a memory. But, like we are here today for a reason and a purpose. We are meant to fight through this, despite how hard it is.
Yep.
I just that's one reason why I love John. It's because, like, we can talk seriously, but he knows how to end a conversation a little too well, right? Because, like, there are some times where, like, I don't know if you've had a situation, but especially with my dad, like, sometimes we're just talking, and then we just, like, sit there for like 3 minutes, and the conversation is over. There's nothing else to add, but it feels too somber to talk about anything else. But John is just like, yep, we talked about what we need to talk about, and and we can move on, which I don't think is a bad thing, right? Provided we've been able to digest the information and learn and grow, right? I think sometimes,
Right. Yeah.
especially with just life, especially right now, 2020, with it being very hard on us, I think it's okay to be able to move on. It's not to say that we're insensitive and not sympathetic, but to be able to move on and to be able to think about life on happier terms and matters.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather take a cheerful attitude than just to be mopey all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, we know what being mopey is like. And it's not fun.
Yeah.
And so...
And this, like doing this podcast each week with you, like, this is one of the highlights of my week, because it is, especially because of Corona. But I know definitely you, John, but probably also you, Chris. Like, it's not too often sometimes that we talk to people, right?
Mhm.
And so to be able to sit down, reflect on life, share about what's going on, whether it be serious or funny, like, this is a highlight of my week, and it helps me gain a better perspective about the world, and I really like that.
Yeah, this podcast took a turn that I didn't think it would.
Well, you had fun, right? I had to, like, I don't know what exactly you were feeling, but I felt like you were kind of uncomfortable at the beginning. But, like, that's how I felt last week.
Yeah, sure. I mean, no. Like, all I wanted to do was just talk about Planet of the Apes.
Wait,
nothing.
okay?
Sure. Yeah, this past week I watched all the movies.
Okay, I've not seen. Okay, go on.
I was gonna ask, did you watch the original one from the 60s?
I watched from the very beginning 60s until the most recent one. Yeah.
All right. I have not watched the movies, but there's a guy named Adam the Woo on YouTube who I'm a big fan of, who does filming location videos.
Mm-hmm.
And he did the filming location. He did a video at the place where they filmed the movie from the 60s and found relics from the movie set that were still, like, they filmed at, like, a state park in, like, California.
Yeah.
So,
John, would you like that?
I don't know. If I got nothing else to watch, sure.
Well, I know one of these days you will, because here's the funny thing. Sometimes, like, I'm at Liberty, I'm doing my work, and John comes over. I'm like, John, I love you, but right now, like, I'm just trying to concentrate. It's like, okay. And he pulls up his Google Drive and starts watching his old videos. I'm like, you don't.
You're doing your thing, and I'm doing my thing.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
That's what I do, Christopher.
That's fair.
I just
I
watch
know that's
videos.
what you do. It just amazes me sometimes. That's all.
No, I was just mainly impressed by the makeup. I'm just like, man, I want to do that. It costs a lot
Like
of
from
money.
the 60s?
Yeah, like from the 60s. Like, I want to do the makeup. I want to put the prosthetics in my mouth, make myself like an ape. Well, it costs roughly $100 to do so, but
I mean, that's
it'd
not
be fun.
ridiculous.
I mean, if it's $100 per each time you do the makeup, because
Oh,
I don't know if the prosthetic you use is reusable or how much you can reuse it. Because the
Okay.
prosthetic itself is at least $50.
interesting. If you don't know, John is a theater major at Liberty, and so
Oh,
he
yeah.
knows how to do his own makeup.
No, I don't. But
Um,
yeah,
Well, but I would never dare do it, but you can
I think it'd be really fun
attempt.
just to walk around as an ape.
I think it could work.
That's a tweet.
John, I really think you should.
I mean, if I can figure out how to do that, whenever I take makeup class, if they have me
Okay.
be a monkey, I want to do it.
Okay, so there is a makeup class at Liberty?
Yes.
Okay. Are you taking that this semester?
No.
Okay, but you'll be taking it, right?
Eventually.
Is it an elective or is it required?
It's required.
Okay. Wow. Well, you learn something new every day. That's amazing, though, I think.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
Is it required just for men or is it required for everyone?
It's for everyone. Like,
Okay,
the
just
makeup
asking.
the makeup they do is crazy sometimes. Because,
Okay.
like, you'll see people coming out of the class with, like, bloody scars all over them. And it's like,
Oh, wow.
it's just an average thing. They just walk by and, like, you don't think. The thing looks real, but you
Mhm.
can tell it's not because their makeup,
Hmm.
they clearly just came from the makeup because all of them have these bloody, huge, gouging scars. It's like, that's neat.
So, for like the theater productions at Liberty, is it always you have to do your own makeup, or if you can't, someone else will do it for you, or if it's
Yes.
too complex? Yeah.
The complex stuff, they usually have like a makeup assistant or makeup designer there to tweak it up for you. But you yourself generally have your basic makeup that you do yourself.
Hmm. And so no one else had to do anything for you for your show.
On my show, there was no makeup, just eyeliner.
Oh, just eyeliner.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it was a kind of no. Okay. Question. So that there were two shows going on at that time. The student-based productions, right?
Yes.
Did it use the same set?
It's the same set, but they moved some things around.
Okay, that makes sense. And were they both done on the same night, or is it one
Yes.
weekend this and okay? Wow.
It's like early in the day you have this show, later in the day you have this show.
Gotcha.
It's like
Okay, that's impressive.
that. Mm.
Now,
So,
do you know if anyone was in both of the shows, whether it be production?
Jonathan was the lighting for both shows.
Okay. Any of the cast that was in both, or
The cast, no.
okay.
It would just be the production, as in the sound design and light design. They would have to work on both, which means they'd have to stay all day, take apart all their lighting, set up for the next show,
Wow.
and get ready for the next day. So yeah,
Got it. Okay. But you enjoyed going through Planet of the Apes?
I did. I watched it with me, mom. So
Okay. How many movies is that total?
in total of movies, 9.
9. Okay. And so what?
And that's not including the live action TV show that they did back in the 70s, which I don't have access to. So
Okay. Do you know where you could access it?
I'd have to buy it on DVD.
Oh, so it's not on any streaming services.
No, you'd have to watch it at 5 in the morning on TV.
And you're most definitely doing that.
No.
I just found out about that because of a song. believe it or not, there's the guy that plays Biff in the Back to the Future movies,
Mm-hmm.
Tom Wilson. He actually does stand-up comedy and comedy music, but he wrote a song called Sci-Fi Convention because he goes to like conventions,
Yeah.
and part of the song lyrics he says, "I'm sitting next to a guy that was in the Planet of the Apes TV show," and then he says, "I didn't know they even existed."
Yeah, neither did I. I found out, I think, partially through the movie Argo. They had a small clip of the show there, and that gave the guy Ben Affleck his idea to do the filmmaking, whatever, that story. So yeah, Planet of the
I find it
Apes.
kind of cool, like both of you kind of have like an appreciation for like old stuff compared to like most people in our generations.
Yeah, I mean it's been said about me before that I was born in the wrong generation.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. But yeah, what's interesting is that the first Planet of the Apes movie had huge commentary on huge religious commentary in there as well. The idea of evolution and how instead of man came from apes, apes came from man, and just
Wait, that
how
would be de-evolution. Evolution.
except the apes are speaking, of course. But no, how it worked in that film.
That could work. Whatever.
Like,
Move on.
yeah, like the guy unknowingly goes to the future, and he's in this planet of apes, and they have their own religion, where like apes were created by our ape god, and it's like we have the facts. Don't the science that you create, we shift it to mold so it fits how our creation story, and so it's basically a commentary about Christian creation and how during that time period we just shaped the facts to fit our theory of creation, and not necessarily we accept the truth itself and whatnot. So yeah, it's
That's so interesting.
it's interesting, definitely.
Because
And then of course the films moved on from being a commentary about evolution and creation, but just we got a bunch of apes on a planet. What are we gonna do? Oh.
like it kind of one thing I find interesting about evolution is that the idea is so new compared to the idea of Christianity and like how long the Bible has existed. Right, evolution appeared in the 18 or 1900s, right? While the Bible has been around for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Bible wins the age war. Right. It's not to say that what is older is what is true. But it's still interesting that evolution being touted as a fact. Like what made evolution a fact? You know? I do feel like that there is scientific data that skews things to seem evolutionary, or it could be true. And it's given from an evolutionary slant. I don't know if that's making sense. But like, go on.
I was gonna say I lean toward creationism, but here's the deal: and this is what my conclusion is, because you'll have the creationists who are very staunch about what they believe, and then you have the evolutionists who are staunch about what they believe in. Me, I'm like, well, we don't know. Like, no rock has like itself a timestamp on it unless someone carved in it. But we don't know. I don't know how old the Appalachian Mountains are.
We weren't there to witness it ourselves.
Exactly. And do I think it's millions of years? I don't know. And that's what it comes down to is people just want answers, and they want even if they make up the answers.
Mm.
And I'm okay with not knowing the answers. And that's a very broad statement for a lot of things across the board.
Mhm.
With different various ideas. And sometimes you just have to be, I don't know the answer, and I'm okay with not knowing.
Mm-hmm. I think some people, this is a little aside, but related at the same time. I think some people have are kind of theorizing that the Big Bang did happen when God said, "Let there be light." Again, I don't know.
We don't know.
Right, right. We don't know in the end. Honestly, whether the Big Bang happened or not does not affect my trust in either the Bible or general science. But that's what I was kind of saying. How I do feel like because there's an evolutionary slant, what may be true is given from such a perspective that it sounds false. But maybe the Big Bang did happen. So what if that was explained from a biblical perspective? I don't know. But there is something, you mentioned rocks. There was a volcano I heard about. I hope I'm getting this right. I probably should look it up. There was a volcano called Nova Erupta. I don't remember when it erupted, but it was probably within the last 100 years. And what comes out of a volcano? Like hot rocks and such, right? Or at least stuff comes out and melts and becomes rock or something. Am I
Yeah.
right? I'm not a geologist.
Yeah. I know. I
So-
think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So they went and did the evolutionary rock timestamp thing, and they said the rock was millions of years old or something like that, and which is interesting, right? Hopefully they got an actual rock that formed from the volcano, but if that was a rock from a volcano that erupted within the past, I guess at this point, be 125 years. If I'm correct, it erupted in 1908. I don't remember, but then that would mean that the method of trying to tell time from that machine is wrong.
And it has been noted that they've been wrong at times. So I don't
At times.
I don't fully trust some of their dating methods because at times it does come out to be wrong. It really depends on how they date it.
And I feel like I've kind of just fallen out of step when it comes to something science, because I'm like, you know what? It's not changing my opinion of what I believe about scripture, but I do not need to spend my life running around trying to figure out when something was created or the timing of something.
It's
Whether
not
the Earth was 6,000 years or several billion years old,
it's not important.
it's not that important. I say that it's not that important, and you say it's not important. But at either rate, some people put too much importance.
Hmm. Let's give us some closing thoughts here as we end today's session.
Well, it was funny because at the beginning, because the past couple episodes we've kind of gone to 2 hours, and I feel like we were almost stretching it a little bit, oh, let's try to go to 2 hours and such. And so today I'm like, all right, let's try not to force to stretch it to 2 hours. Let's try to keep that at one. And by the way, Chris, but this will be in audio format, so don't worry.
It's fine. I figured, but
Yeah, just want to let just figured because of what I see on your camera. That's all.
Oh yeah. Do you not see this?
That's a nice.
That's something, and that's it. Anyways, it's going to be just audio, so we'll be fine about that. My dead brain. But this time I was like, let's make sure we do an hour, and you were like, no, we do not have to force it to an hour, but we will not force it to 2 hours. But if 2 hours happens, it happens.
Yeah.
And that is what happened. And I feel like, honestly, this is one of my favorites because I feel like we talked about a lot of cool, important things that I think it made me think a bit. I hope it made you guys think a bit. And to our listeners in Italy, I hope it made them think. Which, by the way, do we have any more listeners?
Germany.
Okay! From Podcast Addict or not?
No.
Okay, then.
Keep going.
No, those are my thoughts. Until
Alright.
someone else says something, and I'll insert another closing thought.
Anything to add, Chris?
I'm trying to think of something here. I do have something.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's barely being heard on this thing, but yeah, that's
I mean,
very.
Hopefully, it was quite enough that our podcast will be okay.
They'll hear what it is,
They'll
but
hear
not
what it
not
is.
enough was played to be like this
Well-
is could be noted.
Okay, but that's the thing. That record companies have become so stingy that they'll claim anything. That's the stupid thing.
But you're not hearing what I'm hearing here, so
I tried to soft where it wouldn't pick it up in short.
and
you're
I
right.
think you accomplished that well.
You did good. I was not surprised that you did that. Honestly.
I was.
No, he did that. It's
I
like,
will
oh,
fall for
okay, yeah, yeah, he does like that, doesn't he? Anyway,
Like, I know he likes it, but it's like I will fall for it whenever it happens. But one question for you, John, just in case if you were about to close up for good. What did you think of this episode? How was it interacting with one of my friends that you've never met? And like, just what are your thoughts about that? I'm just really curious after you did that to me. So I just want to. And would you want to do it again? I'm not saying specifically him. I mean, if we can have you on again, I would love that. But if like I brought on another friend at random, like, would you like that? I'm just curious, John.
it doesn't matter, Christopher. You can bring whoever you want on the podcast as long as we can do stuff together.
Okay, good. If we can do cool stuff together, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
That's all I got to say about that.
All right. Were you about to wrap it up for good?
All right, let's wrap it up.
Oh,
anyway,
wait. Tell everybody where they can find us and our slogan.
You can find us on Anchor. Support us there. $1 makes all the difference. Also, when you get the chance, let's try and rename a city and call the city name in brackets. Anyway, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.